Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is February 1st, the year of our Lord 2022. And, the talk of everywhere is AI. And another big talk, IRS. How do they combine? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Won't you join us? Now, these are two of my favorite areas of the law. Yeah, I guess the law, because I have a master's degree in information technology, and I'm a tax attorney. So if you try to bring them both together, wow, I got to figure out I'm there. I'm interested, right? And AI is something we've all everybody's been talking about. And I don't think people really realize where this comes in. Where does the IRS fit into AI and the government? Necessarily. And it's really if AI is best at sifting through large amounts of data and making sense of it, well, what better place to use that than the IRS, right? In that they have a huge set of data that they can sift through to match. Right, and make sure. And again, I was on John Hanson's show one time, and I was talking about this because it's so important that we realize if you mix the IRS, AI, and digital currency, stable coins, the United States dollar is digital. I really think that freedom is over. I'm not being, I'm not being facetious. It's like you're going to have to find another store, another measure or medium of exchange, right? Because let's face it, there's going to be illegal activities, and whether you want or not, how do they get drugs into prison? How do people get killed in their prison cell? It happens, and so you'll never stop it. So if you're gonna control every dollar, then there's got to be a different medium of exchange. Someone's got to come up with something else, a Bitcoin, I guess, or something. But they're trying to put it into that too. That's what. But anyway, there's a good story about this in the Hill, and it's funny because I was already talking about this, and then I find this article. I'm like, well, I was already going to talk about it today, and then I found this great article. So let us go to the article. Okay. This is the article. Is it playing in the background? No, it's not. Okay, so that's good. Okay. This is the article. Coming soon, IRS on big tech steroids. It's no joke. The Internal Revenue Service is often the bane of working men and women, especially during this time of year. Remember now, only if you make more than $400,000 a year do you have to worry about this. I've never believed it, and it's just not true. There's another story here we're going to talk about too. If you own your own business, and this is who I help, people who own their own business, or ticked the wrong withholding box, you may be on the hook for hundreds of thousands of dollars in April. But in the matter of less than a decade, the IRS will become turbocharged, and your chance of an audit or penalty will be much, much higher. Rapidly advancing technology and an IRS ahead of the curve in artificial intelligence could mean the start of a closely monitored and heavily enforced surveillance state. The IRS will undergo a computing revolution in the next decade, as will all the federal government. The implementation of artificial intelligence will bring changes to government record keeping greater than the advent of the internet. And since most of the work will be done autonomously by software that doesn't need breaks, take holidays, or have human sympathies, the prospects of taxpayers are grim. After all, the argument will go, why wouldn't you want more exact tax enforcement? Major tax cheats who offshore their funds in secret accounts wouldn't be able to keep them any longer. But the technology will be applied to everyone. And soon the IRS will be able to see if someone slipped you $50 to help a friend move. This information could be used automatically send penalties, warnings, and audit notices. Once the tech is in place and operational, you'll wish the old IRS was back. That means the means for which enforcement will likely come in two main thrusts. The first is the creation of the digital dollar, which will have the ability to record almost all transactions and provide tremendous power to an already mighty Federal Reserve. The second would be the use of artificial intelligence that can parse through millions of transactions instantly. AI can already create music, photos, and rudimentary video. Its current growth is exponential, and large companies and the federal government are taking note. Microsoft is likely to stake a $10 billion investment in text AI. I believe they've already done that. The federal government already uses the technology for a myriad of reasons, and the one that will likely affect you the soonest is at the IRS. The IRS is already using machine learning. Last June, it announced that AI will assist the agency in handling phone calls from general public. This includes the ability for the AI to interact with customer and, in the words of Deputy Commissioner, using artificial intelligence to access their account and resolve it in certain situations without any wait or on hold. The IRS signed a $70 million contract for AI to improve public interactions. It planned, but dropped for now, a facial recognition program. The more tools the federal government brings online to digitally stalk Americans, the more it will be misused and abused. Absolutely true. There's never been a technology that hasn't been misused or abused by federal governments around the world. Unbeknownst to many, some of the biggest actions are already baked into the cake. In 2018, the IRS inked a $99 million contract for advanced AI to crack down on tax evasion. The company it's contracting with already knows a lot about you, even if you don't know a lot about them. Even if you don't know a lot about you. This company, Palantir, has incredible access to your personal records and actions. This includes text messages and criminal histories. The technology will enable both monitoring of transactions and physical location, but also the ability to compare a taken tax deduction to social media posts. The implications go well beyond comparing your W-2 to your tax filing. The IRS stated in 2018 that it plans to use AI monitoring of social media only for previously identified tax compliance cases, but the government doesn't shrink once it has an appetite. One member of Congress called it the ultimate auditor. Efforts to stop the ballooning power of the tax collectors have been unsuccessful so far. In December, the IRS announced a delay to its $600 reporting requirement that infuriated the public. But like most government policies, it will receive a new coat of paint and come back in some uglier yet sweeter named form soon enough. Ironically, the new Republican House of Representatives move to cut funding for the IRS may be what helps the agency to become more dangerous. The bill won't make it past the Senate, and though $71.5 billion in new IRS funding and the hiring of tens of thousands of agents will go unimpeded. However, the risk of serious budgetary and personal cutbacks may help foster the next iteration of the government's most hated bureau. Unless the GOP can figure out a way to repeal the agency, and there's a bill trying to do that, just that, as unlikely as it is to ever pass, the next decade will bring serious changes to the government's ability to monitor your personal financial life. Soon, AI will be making more decisions in the IRS than actual people. While tax cheats will be much more likely to be caught, the IRS audits the poor at a rate at 5 times that of the rich. The average taxpayer should be careful what they wish for. The positive news is that with the new, more efficient AI chatbots, you can get your audit notice and decision in a blink of an eye. This is so true. This is what I've been warning about for some time now. With the rise of information returns, 1099K, 1099B, the 1099 they want from your bank account, right? Don't forget that. They haven't forgotten. They gave up on it, but only temporarily. that they're going to go after all of our bank accounts and want an accounting every year of how much money goes in and out of our bank account. That's a given. That's coming. I had my discussion with John Hanson today, and Elizabeth Warren brings this up. Well, you won't have to do your own tax return. They'll do it for you. Is that a service or is that a punishment? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? There are some that say it's a good thing. I have to say it's a bad thing, right? The more government we have in our lives, the less free we are. That's just the fact. So here's a story from Stanford. IRS disproportionately audits black taxpayers. And this story reaches conclusions that I have to disagree with but let's just, I'm not going to read it all because it's a very long story. But black taxpayers receive IRS audits at least 2.9 times and perhaps as much as 4.7 times more often than non-black taxpayers, according to the new paper. Professor of law at Stanford, faculty, whatever his credentials are, very good, smart guy, got it. The disparity is unlikely to be intentional on the part of the IRS staff. Rather, as the team's research demonstrated, the racial disparity in audit selection is driven by a set of internal IRS algorithms that he likens to the recipe of Coca-Cola. That is, it's completely secret. To better understand this audit selection bias, the research team modeled the racial impact that various alternative audit selection policies might have. The result, a demonstration of how the IRS might be able to tweak its secret algorithm to reduce its racially disparate impact. This is the desperate impact analysis that desperate impact automatically equates to racial bias. Again, these computers don't know what color you are, but black taxpayers are much more likely to be getting earned income tax credits. And that's where this is coming from, because the IRS knows all of that, right? They have all those records. They get it from the government. They get it from you. And so it's automatically, and then there's math errors. That's the most common notice that the IRS sends is math error notices. So these are audits. This is where we're going. Not so much, but it's going to be everyone. It's everybody at the lower end. That's easy because everything they do is already in the IRS database. It's easy to check. Why don't they like people being in their own business? Because they can't check every dollar that you get. But they're working on it. They certainly want to do that. And that's where we're going. Anyway, I go through this. I want to mention I mentioned this yesterday on the show, so I'm going to mention it again. Probably often coming up. This is fightbacknow.com. Go to fightbacknow.com. I have a tax workshop for free. It's going to be a free workshop. I'm going to talk about this. One of the things is you're going to have to do if they're going to audit everybody, and it's going to be is make sure your records are in place, because even if you're entitled to those deductions, if you don't have the records to back them up, even if they do, you won't be allowed those deductions. And it's not going to be that someone's going to knock and say, hey, you got to come down to the IRS. They're just going to send you paper. Say, hey, prove this. And you're going to have to provide the documents. And if you can't provide the documents, you're going to they're going to tax you more. Your taxes are going to go up. And so you better work on that. And that's one of the things that I help people do. And let me go through the three things that I'm going to teach at this workshop. First, why tax resolution companies only offer a temporary solution. I'm going to explain that to you at that tax workshop. How to make bookkeeping automatic without accounting or technical skills. The IRS has AI and things working for them. Couldn't you? The answer is yes, you could, and you should. Secret number 3, how to pay the IRS what you can, not what you owe. So if you owe a big chunk of money, there's a number that after which you can't pay the IRS. Well, how do you do that? That's what I'm going to teach at this workshop. So go to fightbacknow.com. Go to fightbacknow.com and get on the list. It's a free workshop. Get your spot. There's a limited number of spaces at it's an online workshop. There's only a limited number of spaces. Go and get yours. So Thanks so much for joining us. I want to ask you to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. I need your help to get this information out. So I need you to like and subscribe. Get it out there. You know, who else is talking about the AI and IRS? Where else have you seen it? Nowhere. I guess they'll wrote the story. But I've been talking about it forever. I don't want to say they're copying me, but I'm not the only one, I guess. But again, I'm the only one talking about all of this stuff. Where else can you get it? This news, right here on today's Tax Talk. So thanks so much for joining us. I'm also going to plug my book. freeirsbook.com. Go to freeirsbook.com. Get your free copy of Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. I will pay for the printing. I'm going to ask you to pay for the shipping and handling. Again, it's under $10, right? And if you go and sign up for the workshop, and if you get the book, it'll help you. That's a place to start. So go to freeirsbook.com. Get your free copy. Again, I will pay for the printing. I'll ask you to pay for the shipping and handling. So thanks so much for joining us here today. Again, my two of my favorite subjects have merged, but they did that some time ago. But I want you to know about it, right? Because that's what's happening. And you should know about it. And you should take action to protect yourself. Because that's what's going to happen. So thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time. And we shall see you tomorrow, I hope. God bless. And we are now out.